Imagine entering 2026 feeling lighter, unburdened, and free because you have released everything that has been holding you back. That is what we are planning to do before we get into 2026, and I hope that this video will be a blessing. See you in the video. Let us unpack. Rise and shine, oh, rise and shine. Welcome back to another video. My name is Marion Mwikali, and this is the growth space. Today we're talking about unpacking some of the things that have been holding us back so that when we get to 2026 we are getting there more enlightened, doing better, because heck, we want to achieve more, we want to do better things because it is very possible to do. And today I just want us to talk about how we can actually do that. How can you unpack some of the things that, by the way, have been holding you back? A lot of us have a challenge of identifying what those things are that are holding us back, because we either sometimes don't want to tell ourselves the truth. Sometimes we know what is holding us back, but because we are so familiar and so comfortable with it, we are not very easily convinced to change, and that can really be a challenge for us as individuals. But if you know that growth is something that you want to be intentional about, what you need to do is make sure that, by the way, you're very intentional even with the unpacking process, because you have to identify those things that, by the way, are letting you down, things that are causing you not to move on. Holding yourself back is a bad way, because you have been going through the cycles of the same things. And if you want change, you need to be very willing to deal with those uncomfortable situations. Even telling yourselves, by the way, you know what, Marion, you have been lazy. You need to wake up, you need to do more, you need to start, and you need to be consistent, because probably consistency is your issue. You are very open with yourself to tell yourself the truth, because unless you do that, you cannot unpack. Okay, you cannot let go of some of those things that are holding you back. Some of us need to even listen to advices that we have been told by people, because sometimes they are uncomfortable, they are hurtful, because of course they are reflecting on your weaknesses. But for you to be able to move on, you need to listen. You need to also be in a place where you accept, by the way, this is an area that I have had an issue with, and I need to work on it and correct and improve. Now, that being said, how do you move on and begin to unpack? The first thing is you need to identify what thing has been holding you back. Unless you identify that thing, then again, how can you let go or deal with it? Because if you don't know what is eating you, then there's no way that you can deal with it. Awareness is freedom, so you need to be aware. I'm going to ask you 3 questions that you need to reflect and ask yourself, even as you identify some of those things that have been holding you back. The first one is, what made you feel small this year? I know there are situations, there are circumstances that can make you feel small. So identify some of those things, because all of us, there is that uniqueness of knowing who we are, of knowing the potential we carry. So when we are in a place where we feel small, you can actually be in a place of telling yourself, this situation, this thing made me uncomfortable, it made me feel small, so I need to work on it and just improve and make sure that I am doing a good job. So what made you feel small this year? You will identify some of those things, because there's a way you have perceived yourself that will help you to identify that, by the way, this situation has made me feel some type of way. This is not the way I would have treated or I wanted to be treated. So identify some of those things, then work on them. What would you want to be done differently? Or what made you feel actually be treated small? Because there is always something that leads to that. Then now start addressing it one after the other. The other question is, what did I tolerate that I should have walked away from? I feel like a lot of us, because of trying to fit in to circles and to environments, and also to cliques of people that probably we feel the potential of having them in our lives, we compromise a lot and we tolerate a lot of things that we're not supposed to tolerate. And in the process, you end up hurting yourself. You end up losing who you are and your authentic self, just because you're trying to fit in into a particular clique, into a particular set of or group, and that can really affect who you are. So the other thing you need to do is also identify that in 2025, what have you tolerated that you shouldn't have? You should have walked away, because probably it's not in line with your values, with your principle, or with your character, but you have had to compromise just because you wanted to fit in, because because you wanted people to think that you're cool, then those are some of the things that have been holding you back, because then you're compromising who you are, you're compromising on your integrity, and that is not something that you want to be compromising in 2026. The other question is, what patterns kept repeating themselves? I know all of us can identify. You can look like this and say, hey, in these 3 months, a lot of things have been repeating themselves. Or in the period of the previous years, it might not just be in 2025, it can be in the last 3 4 5 years. Things have been repeating themselves. It can be because you are not improving, so you cannot continue doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So it is up to you to identify, this thing has not worked, I have been repeatedly been doing the same thing. So you need to change the pattern so that you make sure you have an authentic self, and that you receive the blessings that are supposed to come in 2025. So after you have identified that, you need to have emotional detox. Remember, these things have made you feel some type of way. You have been drained, you have been tolerating a lot of things that have been toxic to you. So you need to do an emotional detox, and that is one thing of doing that, is identify and name whatever it is that you feel is an emotion that is affecting you and affecting your progress and has been taking your power. Because once you name it, it loses power over you. Anything that you can actually name loses its power. So you need to name it, make sure that you know what it is. You need to feel it. Don't feel numb. Act like this thing is an emotion I feel. If it's anger, be very present and know that this is an anger that I'm feeling towards this particular thing, because probably, like I was saying earlier, while you're identifying some of the things that have you have tolerated, they make you feel some type of way because you have been made to feel small, and that can really affect you. So you need to feel, and then after you feel, you release that negative emotion so that you can now create room and space for positive energy. The other thing is replace it, as we have talked about. Once you have already felt the emotion, you have named it, you have felt how it makes you feel so bad or make you feel a particular type of way, then now you release it. Right after you release it, you can now have room to create space to actually accommodate positive emotions that are good for you. After you're done that, the other thing is to break old patterns. We have talked about this a lot. For you to actually grow personally, you need to release some old patterns. And let me say this, I know most of you that are watching me are above 18 or 20 or 30 years. So there's what you are so used to, you are comfortable with, but it has not been serving you. It has just been a feeling, an emotion that you have been holding on to, especially if it's allowing people to treat you badly and you have tolerated that for a long time. It can be very difficult to gain back your power and be like, no, this is the last time you guys are going to treat me badly, because I am taking back my power, I'm taking back my position, and this is the decision that I'm making. I'm not going to like do away with you all together, but I'm going to put healthy boundaries that are going to protect me and protect my safeness. But because you are so used to them, it can be very challenging to create good patterns or to break the old patterns, because they're so familiar, they are okay, you're so comfortable with it. And it's so sad because some of us are just not comfortable with them, but we have trained ourselves to deal with the negativity that we have around us to a point that it has become our lifestyle. So sometimes even to identify that by the way you behave, the way you interact has been a way of shelving yourself from all the negativity and the toxicity around you. So before you come to unlearn that can be very difficult, because that has been your way of livelihood. But the importance and the good thing about whatever we are talking about is you have already identified that is a pattern that I need to break, because it happened because of 1 2 3 4. Yeah, because of the childhood traumas that I went through. This is my coping mechanism, and it has worked. However, it has not been healthy for you. It was just there to help you deal with some of the challenges that you have gone through. So it is time you release the old patterns, and now you begin to walk a journey of freedom. Yeah, you release all of it, and that is very important. So stop rehearsing the past. I know a lot of us, we sit down and we are there thinking how this is how my past has been, and you use it to justify your bad behavior, to justify why you're the way you are, instead of using that past to actually change and become better, right? So you need to stop rehearsing your past. It is, yes, something that you have gone through. It is an experience, and we are not saying that it should be deleted altogether, but you can actually overcome and now be in a place where you're sitting and telling people, that is what I went through, but I did not allow it to make me a bitter person or a bad person, so I worked on it. Okay, the other thing is, stop making excuses for people, because people's behavior will be their behavior, and you cannot always excuse their behavior. If someone is in your space and they're mistreating you or they're mishandling you, don't excuse them and you're there justifying that they did that because of this and this and this. They're actually nice people. That is not a way to overcome some of these things. It is, this person actually stepped your boundaries and they did a wrong thing, whether they have their reasons or not. But then, because you have already now started putting boundaries and they have crossed those boundaries, don't explain their behavior, don't excuse it. Be in a place where you can confront that negative behavior and just sit the person down, and humbly but with wisdom talk about it. Tell them, you know what, you have come way too far than you should have come, and I wasn't expecting this from you, but now this is what we're going to do moving forward. I don't want you to do this and this, because at the end of the day, I am also guarding my space and guarding my heart, because out of your heart proceeds the issues of life. I would rather you tell someone, be open about it and say, you know what, this thing hurt me and I didn't like the way you treated me, so please, can you change or can you improve? Because at the end of the day, if I excuse everything or I try to justify what you're doing as a behavior, then at the end of the day, I'm the one who is always hurt and are made to feel badly, and that is why we go back to, you are made to feel small. So because you don't want to be to feel small, you need to take back your power, and you need to actually sit people down and tell them, you know what, this is as far as you will come. Thank you so much. And it's not in a bad way, it's like, thank you very much, but and then the other thing you need to stop shrinking who you are. A lot of us are trying to be other people, we are trying to look like other people, we are trying to fit in the image of other people, because we feel like their personalities, we feel like their way of life is amazing, and that is who we feel we should be. They look like they have everything figured out, and because they are loud, because they have a way of thinking, we want to actually blend and follow what they are doing, and we sometimes tend to want to be like them, and that can really affect you, because at the end of the day, as much as you will copy someone, as much as you will copy some celebrity from abroad, you have your own life to live. There's the authentic reason and the purpose why you came to be and to exist. So if you're trying so hard to be other people, then you will never be yourself. We will never see your full potential. A lot of us are also in this space, we are trying to compete and show other people we are better than them. If you're in the same industry, you're always, there's a lot of competition. But if there's something that I have learned every other time I keep on knowing myself, is that I do not need to compete with anyone, because we have, number one, so many people that can actually share. We can all watch each other's content. I have my people, someone else who is doing motivation, who is doing personal growth, has their people. We are in different states, so of course I might be catering for the people in Africa or the people in Kenya, then they can cater for someone else. If it's Kenya, I might be just catering for people in Nairobi or people who have similar stories like me, because we blend and we merge and we understand one another, because we are coming from like having the same story. So some of these things are things that we need to take time and just live and be in that place of consciously knowing that I do not need to compete with someone. Even if they're my neighbor, we can actually support one another and grow each other. It is important to make sure that you do not shrink who you are, because you're very important. You have something to offer the world, and that is a place where you need to open yourself up and make sure that you allow people to see who you are, your authentic self, whether they like you or not. So 2026 requires us to be lighter, right? And for you to be lighter, you need to tell yourself harsh truths and also walk that journey. It might be difficult, it might be a lonely road, because that means you have to like delete some of the numbers of your friends. It means that you won't have a lot of calls like probably you were having. It means that sometimes you're gonna get a bit alone and segregated, because right now you're saying no, and people don't like to be told truths. They don't want you to set boundaries for yourself, and that can really cause them to like just separate from you. But I would rather you have one or two authentic true friends who are for you, who no matter what know that, by the way, this is how I am. I was telling someone some time back that a lot of us, right, we want to have a crowd of people, but when we are really in need, when you look at your phone book, you can actually see that there are so few people that you can call. Majority of the people that you're actually tolerating, you're actually giving your airtime and your time, are not people who will support you even in your worst. So you need to also have that consciousness of saying, I choose me, I am my first priority, right? And scripture says that you can never love people if you don't love yourself. And the measure you love yourself is the measure you will actually love others. So you cannot say that you love other people and you don't love yourself. Then that means that you do not love them. What you're doing is pleasing them. Because if you love, you will love them in the same measure you love you. So if you're going to put time aside for you to just take time and do something, then that is very important, because you need it even for your own growth. 2026 is going to be amazing, because I believe that all of us are in the process of growth and we are achieving greatness, right? All of us want to succeed. All of us want our careers to take flight. We want our businesses to bloom. We want to increase, to buy land and all these things that people are looking forward to do. But so that you can get there, you also need to work on yourself, so that even as the wealth comes, even as the true authentic friends come, they won't now come again to compromise who you are, because you will already have your own person. Things that hold you back can sometimes be very difficult to let go. And harsh truths is that you don't owe people any explanation for growth and for change. Sometimes all you need to do is say, okay, this I am doing for me because I feel like I have hidden myself in this particular facade, but it's high time I just become my authentic self. People will not like you being loud, they will not like you being authentic. They will feel kind of terrified. They will feel like you are just being a bit too much. But when you're authentic, the importance of that is that you don't change. So the people who come, they come and they know, you know what, I know this girl, she's very loyal. I know this girl, she's very this way, because that is an image now you have formed and it's a part of you. So with every other person that you're interacting with, you're authentic, you are yourself. Everyone can give the same testimony, because that is who you are. You're not changing, right? That is just how you behave and who you are, regardless. And people who will be attracted to you, who will form friendships with you, are people who will also know that and will accept you for that, rather than faking who you are so that you attract so many people, and at the end of the day you keep on camouflaging and changing as per the environment. So thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Marion Mwikali, and this is the Growth Space. I just want to take some few minutes and appreciate everyone that is subscribing, that is joining our community, that is just being in this platform and loving on us and commenting and sharing and just subscribing. I don't take it for granted. I just want to say thank you. It is an encouragement every other time we upload, and we have you guys giving us your feedback. I am grateful.